The story you're about to hear is a compilation of documented true facts about historical characters, events, or locations. Please sit back and listen as I narrate this story to you. Carlo Gambino, small in stature with a prominent nose and sporting an almost permanent friendly grin, used to disarm detractors, was the American Mafia's most powerful and respected don from the late 1950s until he died peacefully of natural causes in 1976 as the face of organized crime in New York City. He was born in Sicily in the city of Palermo, in the northwest corner of the island on September 1, 1902. His family belonged to the Honored Society, an equivalent of a crime syndicate. Known for his quiet, understated demeanor and razor-sharp criminal savvy, Gambino began carrying out murder orders for new mob bosses in his teens. Carlo was already a man of means when he immigrated to the United States as an illegal immigrant on a shipping boat in 1921 at the age of 19, settling in Brooklyn to join his cousins, the Castellanos, who were connected to gangland factions in New York. His cousins were employed by East Coast Prohibition-era mob boss Salvatore Toto di Aquila, for whom he too immediately went to work. He also became part of the gang called the Young Turks, led by figures like Frank Costello and Lucky Luciano. When Di Aquila was killed by rival gangster Giuseppe Joe the Boss Maselia in 1928, Gambino shifted his allegiance to the Maselia gang, which fought a 4-year war for underworld supremacy in New York against Salvatore Maranzano, a crime lord hailing from a different section of Sicily than Maselia and Gambino did. The Castellammarese War, so named after the Sicilian gang that led the fight against the Young Turks, decimated the American Mafia through assassinations and violence. For nearly 4 years, Joe the Boss and Salvatore Maranzano, two old-time bosses, fought for power, destroying the Prohibition-era operations and street rackets that the 5 New York families controlled, along with the Irish and Jewish crime groups. The war was shedding far too much blood and shining far too brightly on the Mafia. Lucky Luciano and the Young Turks decided to put an end to the war by forming the Commission. This council would be made up of the leaders of the various families and would attempt to resolve disputes through diplomacy rather than violence. The charter members were Charles Luciano, Joseph Bonanno, Joe Profaci, Tommy Galliano, and Vincent Mangano. Lucky offered Gambino the opportunity to join him in taking out both of the bosses. Carlo accepted, and this decision helped propel him up the ranks. At the end of the war, Maselia and Maranzano were gone, shot dead in ambushes, and the modern-day American Mafia was formed. Gambino was offered a position as an underboss to Vincent Mangano after the death of Joe the Boss and Sal Maranzano. Gambino became a major earner in the Mangano family. His activities included loan sharking, illegal gambling, and protection money from area merchants. Despite this, Gambino was low-key by inclination. He lived in a modest, well-kept row house in Brooklyn. He married his first cousin, Catherine Castellano, in 1926, and they had 3 sons and a daughter. In the 1930s, Gambino was convicted of running an illegal liquor still and served almost 2 years in federal prison, the last time he would ever serve time behind bars. Albert Anastasia was one of the most powerful and violent mobsters in his day. After his relationship with mob boss Mangano began to deteriorate, he decided to eliminate the boss and his brother. Anastasia was a co-founder of Murder Inc., which was responsible for up to 1,000 deaths and served as the Mafia's enforcement arm. Anastasia was also abusing his power, and the body count quickly grew. The heads of the other families agreed that Anastasia had to go, and they approached Gambino about organizing a hit on his boss. A failed assassination attempt on Frank Costello by Vincent Gigante forced Costello to step down and hand over the family to Genovese, while the assassination of Albert Anastasia handed over the family to Carlo Gambino. Carlo Gambino's rackets spread across the country in the 1960s. In New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, Boston, San Francisco, and Las Vegas, new Gambino rackets were established. Soon, They were bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars per year, making Gambino one of Mafia's most powerful bosses. Nonetheless, Gambino maintained a low profile. The cops had a difficult time pinning anything on Gambino. Even after placing his home under constant surveillance, the FBI was unable to obtain any evidence that Gambino was running one of the country's largest families. Gambino also established his own family policy: deal or die. This was Gambino's message to every Gambino family member. Heroin and cocaine were highly lucrative but were dangerous, and would also attract too much attention. The punishment for dealing drugs in Gambino's world was an immediate death. It is documented that the Gambino family had approximately 30 crews and over 1,000 soldiers alone in 1962, making the family a $500 million a year enterprise. Thomas Gambino, his eldest son, married the daughter of mob boss Gaetano Lucchese, the new head of the Galliano crime family, which had been renamed the Lucchese crime family in 1962. This would strengthen Gambino's already powerful position by making him a close partner to Lucchese. It has been claimed that Carlo Gambino personally gave Lucchese $30,000 as a welcome gift, and in exchange, Lucchese cut Gambino into the airport rackets that Lucchese controlled, particularly at John F. Kennedy International Airport, where Lucchese controlled all unions, management, and security. It was the start of a perfect partnership. On August 2, 1967, Gambino was spotted at the Desert Inn in Las Vegas, where he is said to have met the Rat Pack of Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop. They were fantastic singers, and the mob, particularly Gambino, lived for their music. After performing at the Desert Inn, Gambino allegedly gave each of them $10,000 while he was present in the VIP lounge. After Joseph Bonanno was forced into retirement by the commission, Vito Genovese died of a heart attack, and Tommy Lucchese died of a brain tumor, Gambino's status and power on the commission was elevated almost immediately. While the Mafia had abolished the title of boss of all bosses, Gambino's position afforded him the power such a title would have carried, as he was now the boss of the largest, wealthiest, and most powerful criminal organization in the world, and was the head of the commission, a position only Lucky Luciano had held before Gambino. During his reign, Gambino ruled his vast criminal empire with an iron fist. He was known to be fair and honest, but he was incredibly dangerous and also was known to be extremely ruthless and did not hesitate to order murders if need be. Respect was essential in the Mafia, especially if you were a street soldier speaking with the mob boss of your family or another family. Unfortunately, this did not apply to Carmine Cielo, a soldier in the Colombo family. Cielo would become arrogant, loud, and disrespectful when under the influence of alcohol. Cielo was at a popular Italian restaurant in October 1974 when he spotted Carlo Gambino and began harassing him, insulting Gambino in front of others. Gambino remained calm as he always did not retaliate, and did not say anything. Cielo's body was discovered encased in the cement floor of Otto's Social Club in South Brooklyn not long after. The FBI's mob squad was monitoring Gambino's house on Ocean Parkway 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Gambino, on the other hand, being low-key and secretive, found ways to operate without saying a word. Despite the use of cameras, leap readers, and audio equipment, the squad was unable to link Gambino to any crime. According to FBI officials, they once taped a meeting between Agnello de la Croce, Joseph Biondo, and Carlo Gambino, during which Biondo simply said, "frog legs," and Carlo Gambino simply nodded. Carlo Gambino earned the family over $500 million per year, gave the go-ahead for many contracted hits, ruled the family with an iron fist for over 20 years, and was never assassinated. He died of a heart attack on October 15, 1976, while watching the New York Yankees at his home in Massapequa. In New York City's St. John Cemetery in Queens, he was buried alongside Charles Luciano and more than 10 other lifelong friends. Unlike many mafia bosses, the original Godfather died of natural causes in his home, leaving a legacy as one of the most successful mafia leaders of all time. Hey everyone! I just wanted to express how grateful I am that you took time out of your day to listen to my narration. This is Nikki of Twysted Mind, and I'd like to wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Salamat!